History shows that a lot of cops are trigger happy enough. Don't you be the one to invite the trigger pull. I've gotten a crazy amount of requests to comment on this new video coming out of Bossier City, Louisiana. First, a little background before we get into the video. It was Friday, October 25th, when Officer Patrick Edmonds Jr. responded to a disturbance at a La Quinta Inn on Preston Boulevard in Bossier City. Shannon Rupert was in the hotel lobby and had a pair of scissors that she refused to drop when the officer repeatedly told her to do so. Video from the officer's body camera and the hotel's security system show Rupert behind the hotel's reception desk waving what looks like a pair of scissors while talking on the phone. The Bossier Parish District Attorney says the police officer who fatally shot this woman was justified in doing so. Subsequently, the Bossier City Police Department has released this video of the moments leading to her death. The district attorney sent a letter to Police Chief Shane McWilliams on Monday saying the district attorney's office spoke with Bossier City Police Department investigators and reviewed the videos. And here's what he wrote before we watch this thing. Based on all evidence reviewed, it is my firm opinion that no crime was committed by the officer as his actions constituted justifiable homicide. The circumstances confronting this officer were such that a reasonable belief existed that he was in imminent danger of losing his life or suffering great bodily harm, and the discharge of his firearm was necessary for the prevention of a possibly lethal threat. I will provide a brief summary of the circumstances supporting this opinion, nature and imminency of threat, and justification of the action. Particularly helpful was video from the location and the officer's body cam. The deceased appeared highly animated and erratic in the time period preceding the officer's arrival as she refused to leave the non-public area of the business and armed herself. Those actions continued after the officer arrived, and the deceased continued to grasp and brandish a scissors and knife. The officer distanced himself from the deceased on the other side of the hotel front desk. In response, the officer's clear instructions to drop her weapon, the deceased used racial epithets and told the officer that he would have to shoot her before she complied. The officer can be heard to calmly radio for assistance even while the deceased makes advances from behind the desk in the officer's direction. The officer conveyed a clear, concise warning of what would happen if the deceased continued to approach while armed. In immediate response to the officer's warning, the deceased raised both arms while holding the scissors and moved toward the officer within a distance that appeared to be no more than 7 and possibly 5 feet when the officer fired 2 shots in immediate succession. The deceased's intent of moving toward the officer is certain as her momentum continues to carry her forward even after she is shot. Okay, so let's watch this video all the way through and then we'll do a quick analysis.
Please, God is.
Hey!
Are you religious? Are you religious? Please come over here.
Hey! Get off the
There's
phone!
only one copy. They're trying to explain me. I got their band here. And they're trying to explain me. I call my look here. Maybe that.
Man, put those scissors down.
You're gonna have to shoot me, nigga.
Put those
No,
scissors
you're not
down.
No, you're not taking to shoot me. You're not taking to shoot me. You're gonna have to shoot me. Please, no, call number 1.
Put those scissors down.
You hold your phone like
Hey,
this.
put those fucking scissors down.
Fuck you. You're gonna have to shoot me.
Put those scissors
Fuck
down.
you.
Put those scissors
Fuck
down.
you. You're gonna have to shoot me, nigga.
Hey, go back over there.
You're gonna have to shoot and kill me. You're gonna have to shoot and kill me. You ain't taking me, motherfucker. You're slaving me, bitch.
104
No,
headquarters,
you're gonna have to
1033
shoot
the channel.
You're
Give me
gonna
a
have to-
supervisor over
Hey,
here.
call back up.
We got a white female, she has
Yeah,
scissors.
you ain't calling. You ain't calling.
Hey, if you come over here, I will kill you.
Okay, kill him.
Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors. Shots fired, shots fired. White female on the ground, still got scissors in her hands. Shots fired, shots fired. Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors. Hey, back up, everybody back up. Hey, get out, get out, get out, get out. Hurry up. Go that way, go that way. Man, drop the scissors, please. Drop the scissors, man, please. Drop them. Drop them.
Or just hold what you got in route. Or 6 route.
Take over to get the fire department route, en route.
All right, first of all, she seems pretty erratic to me.
Please come over here.
Hey, get off the
There's
phone.
only one copy. They're trying to explain to you that they're being here. And the point that you're trying to explain, I call my, look here, maybe that.
Man, put those scissors down.
You're gonna have to shoot me, nigga.
Put those
No,
scissors
you're not taking-
down.
No, you're not taking shoot me. You're not taking shoot me. You're gonna have to shoot me. Please, mate, call number one.
And if we've learned anything from the mountains of police recorded footage on the internet, the last thing you want to do when talking to a cop is invite him to shoot you. Innocent, unarmed, non-threatening people who didn't want to get shot are laying in a graveyard somewhere, indicating that cops don't need an invitation to pull the trigger. So that's stupid move number one from Mrs. Rupert.
Put those scissors down.
You hold your phone like
Hey,
this.
put those fucking scissors down.
You're gonna have to shoot me.
Put those scissors down.
You.
Not an advisable way to talk to a cop who's got his weapon trained on your center mass. Another thing I want to point out is that the only person in the room who seemed to be concerned about the scissors or the threat of this woman is the guy with the uniform, the badge, the body armor, and the gun. These two guys right here just look like they're hanging out, watching everything play out. By the way, this is the perfect time to pull out a camera and just start recording. You always want to record the police.
Put those scissors
Fuck
down.
you. You're gonna have to shoot me, nigga.
Hey, go back over there.
You're gonna have to shoot and kill me. You're gonna have to shoot and kill me. You ain't taking me, motherfucker. You're slaving me, bitch.
104
No,
headquarters,
you ain't have to
1033
shoot
the channel.
me.
Give
You're
me a
gonna have to-
supervisor over
Hey,
here.
hold that up.
We got a white female, she has
Yeah,
scissors.
you ain't calling. You ain't calling.
Hey, if you come over here, I will kill you.
Now, if you care about your life and living another day, rushing a cop who's pointing his weapon at you while you're yelling at him with a sharp object in your hand is probably one of the stupidest things you could do. And 9 out of 10 doctors wouldn't recommend it. And that 10th doctor, well, he probably contributed to Beto's failed campaign. But that's beside the point. If you come over here, I will kill you would be enough to make any sane person think at least twice about taking another step. But that's exactly what Mrs. Rupert does. She takes 2 more steps toward the cop with her scissors in her hand. And they ended up being the last 2 steps of her life. This is where Officer Patrick Edmonds Jr. fires 2 shots center mass into Mrs. Rupert, and the flowered out lead in her chest finishes the job and signs her death warrant, while the guy in the booth without the camera looks on. Now, I intentionally blacked out the shooting part because I'm in the doghouse with YouTube, and the last thing I need is another strike on my channel. But I'll leave the link to the entire uncut video in the description if you want to see Mrs. Rupert get shot. Couple thoughts and questions before we wrap this thing up. And I know it's easy to do Monday morning quarterbacking on this. From the hotel camera angle, it looks like the cop is a pretty big guy. And there's no doubt that he's had police training, at least self-defense training. He's armed and has a puncture-proof vest on as well as gloves. Are cops not able to take on and take down women who are coming at them with a pair of scissors or a knife? Is that how weak cops have become? Did he not have another less lethal option like a taser? He could have zapped her, stepped out of the way, and disarmed her very easily, it seems. On the other side of it, maybe Mrs. Rupert was on drugs. Some drugs like meth and LSD make you feel and act invincible to the point where a small woman can, for a short time, successfully take on 3 or 4 men. What do you guys think? Was this officer's shooting justified? If you had the option of tasing her, would you have done that over shooting her? Like and share this video with everybody you know, everywhere you can on social media, and leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Before you go, check out our new shirt designs in the shirt store. Here's the Beta Hates America design. Hell no, you're not taking my AR-15. And nobody needs an AR-15. Well, nobody needs a whiny little bitch either. And yet, here you are. And against all enemies, Democrat and Republican. There are over 90 other kick-ass designs in the store, and the link's in the description. Your purchase supports the message of freedom on this channel. If you get something out of this content, help me beat YouTube's censorship algorithms by liking and sharing this video. And while you're here, why not watch a couple more of my videos? Until next time, stand firm, stay vigilant, and for the sake of all that is right and good, stop giving your rights away to tyrannical psychopaths who want to destroy this country.